Good day, my name is Sky, and I appreciate you spending some study time with me. I'm here to help you make money in online poker by teaching you key strategies and getting you to take action. And I'm going to show you how to float the flop. So float bluff the flop in position. What does that mean? That means that you called your opponent's preflop raise with position, so maybe in the MP, the cutoff, the button, and on the flop, you bet after they check to you. So the key thing about floating is that, you called with position, and you can plan this ahead of time. You can look around the table and say, okay, when this player open raise, are they likely to check the flop if they miss the flop? And that gets to the first thing you're looking for. The open raiser is flop honest when out of position. So maybe their c-bet, when they're out of position, is something less than 60%. And of course, the lower the better, the more honest they are, right? It helps if your opponent has high card heavy ranges. Something like they open raise with all the broadways and a ton of suited connected hands as well. If their range is very pair heavy, like they're very tight early position raiser, it's going to be harder to get them to fold with a float. And they're also going to be just more likely to c-bet instead of check to you. Now, make a quote-unquote value bet size. Something greater than 50% pot. Just imagine you hit top pair, you have an overpair, you hit a set on this board. What would you bet to try to get value out of this player that just showed weakness and checked? Now, you're bluffing. So in general, dry boards work very well. Think ace-9 deuce rainbow, queen-7-4 rainbow, 9-5 deuce rainbow. Boards without many draws. Now blockers to strong draws are also very good. Just imagine you had the ace of hearts on a heart-heart club board. They're less likely to check raise or check call because they can't have that nut flush draw. Or even holding a 9 on a 6-7-8 flop. So they have less open-enders for themselves, giving them less of a reason to continue. Now, sometimes when you float, you're going to get called. If they check call you, that means they likely connected, especially if all of these other factors are in place and you really believe that your float is going to win the pot. Their check call means, hey, they have something. On the ace-9 deuce, it could be an ace, it could be just a 9. On the 6-7-8, it could be ace-8, top pair hand, but they checked because it's kind of a wet, scary board. So because their call means they connected with the flop in some way, drawing equity and backdoor equity are good so that you can barrel bluff many turn cards, and we're going to see an example of this in just a sec. Now lastly, if you can say, his check is weakness, and I know he's folding most of his overcards and non-pairs, then you found a great opportunity to float bluff on the flop. Here's an example hand. We have the 9-8 suited on the button. Open raise 35-31 player. Very loose aggressive, only open raising to 2 big blinds. We get a fold, and now it's our opportunity. I can justify 3-betting this player, but, I'd like the opportunity to potentially float him. Now, earlier I said you can plan ahead for this play. Let's look at his smart HUD. He c-bets 75%, so he c-bets quite a lot. But in position so far, he has c-bet 100%, 2 out of 2. Out of position, 1 out of 2, 50%. He is a little bit more flop honest as the c-better over this small sample. So we can plan making a float. Hopefully, with our 9-8 suited, we hit something good on the flop. But if not, and if he checks to us, boom, easy bet. Couple of folds, we're heads up in position. Queen, 4-3. Rainbow board, pretty darn dry. His check, hey, that does signify weakness. Let's try to take it down. We come out for 3.4 big blinds. Now, earlier I said having some kind of drawing equity or backdoor equity, it definitely helps a lot. So if we think about this, we have the 9-8 of clubs with a single club on the board, the 3 of clubs. So we can barrel on a turn club, which gives us a flush draw. We can also barrel on that queen high board with a jack or a 10 because we just picked up a gut shot draw with our 8-9. And then lastly, we can even barrel on a 9 or an 8, which gives us second pair. But the great thing about that is if you barrel the turn, you're not showing bet, flop, check, turn weakness, allowing him to come out with an easy river bluff. You're double barreling, so depending on what that river card is after you hit your turn 9 or 8, you can easily just check back, control the size of that pot, get to showdown with a showdown-worthy hand. But alas, we do not need to barrel because he folds and gives us the pot. Now let me show you how to go through your database and find these particular floating hands. First is just the opportunity to float. So in Poker Tracker 4, you're going to go to More, Filters, Actions and Opportunities, on the flop opportunities, and this is a pre-built filter in Poker Tracker 4, just the float opportunity. Save and apply filter, so since August 1st, 46 opportunities to float. Making the play, you just filter for float On the flop, more filters. We'll delete this one. Add, filter, actions and opportunities. On the flop, flop bets, turn on float flop. Very simple. So out of 46, the opportunity, positive 147 big blinds per 100 hands. We did it 35 times and a little bit more profitable when we're making it. And there's that 9-8 suited hand that we just went through. So I recommend after you play and practice some float bluffs, go through your history, filter for that opportunity to float, and review 10 to 20 hands. Find some missed opportunities to float. Also, take a look back at your prior floats and see if you're making positive EV float bluffs or not. Now, before you go out there and start floating flops, I have a free challenge for you. Now, it's called the 3 Steals Challenge. You're going to learn 3 incredibly profitable steals, 2 pre-flop, 1 post-flop, and they're actually in super common situations that happen all the time. So if you learn these steal strategies, you're going to be bumping up that win rate right from the start. Now, to join this challenge, just go to smartpokerstudy.com/3steals-challenge. Click either one of these buttons, fill out the form, and join. Right away, you'll get an email with a link to the day 1 video, which is this one right here. It's a 15-minute 27 video taken directly from the Poker Forge. Now, here's the thing. It wouldn't be really a challenge if I just gave you a video and I said, learn these strategies and use them. Not much of a challenge. Here's where the challenge lies. Study and practice each steal strategy one at a time. Now, here's the big problem when it comes to poker learning. Most people can't help but watch a full video, they skip taking notes, and they skip any practice. But you're going to do things differently with this challenge. The idea here is that you're going to watch a section of the video, you're going to take notes, then you're going to practice the strategy. You're not going to watch all the video on day 1. Instead, you're going strategy by strategy. So for example, on day 1, the strategy you're going to learn is 3-bet bluffing the ISO raiser. So somebody limps into the pot, somebody else comes in for the raise, and then you steal the pot. Day 2, you're going to learn to 3-bet bluff squeeze in late position. So somebody open raises, somebody calls, and you pounce and steal the pot. Day 3, you're going to learn to check raise bluff on the flop. Now this is specifically as the pre-flop caller, of course, from out of position. So somebody open raises, maybe you call in the blinds, the flop comes, you check, they bet, and you pounce and steal the pot. So those are the 3 steal strategies, and you can see they're very common situations that happen in every session that you play multiple times, each of those sessions. So when you get that first day 1 email, the idea is you're going to watch it from the beginning of the video through 4 minutes and 44 seconds in. As you're watching, please take notes on what you're learning because I'm going to tell you exactly what to look for. The position, what your whole card should be, the bet sizing you're looking for, the flop texture potentially. Well, for the post-flop day 3 strategy, of course, right? And then after you take notes, you're going to practice the strategy in-game. You're just going to stop the video right at 4 minutes and 44 seconds and then get to practicing. Now, in each of these sections, I'm going to teach you the strategy for that steal. Then we're going to do a little hand history review. Then I'm going to show you in Poker Tracker 4 how to find those hands where you had the opportunity to make the play. Also how to find the hands where you did make the play. This is going to help you do further studies after you do some in-game practice. So day 1, 3-bet bluffing the ISO raiser up until 4 minutes, 44 seconds. Day 2, 3-bet bluff squeezing in late position from 4 minutes and 45 up through 9:15. And then day 3, check raise bluffing all the flop from 9:16 up to 14:29. So you have your work cut out for you with one video over the next 3 days at least. And I say at least because at the end, you can go beyond the 3-day challenge and do the full action step starting at 14:30 in the video. That's going to have you practicing beyond just 3 days with these 3 steal strategies. So once again, to take me up on this challenge to get access to that Poker Forge 3 stealing video, go to smartpokerstudy.com/3steals-challenge right meow. Hit either button, sign up for the challenge, email one will hit your inbox within maybe 30 seconds. You can get to studying and playing with purpose, improving your steals, increasing that red line, and earning more money. Also, being like a nice little thorn in the side of your opponents. So please go to smartpokerstudy.com/3steals-challenge and sign up today.